Welcome to Mammon, Mike and Mike on Mike, top 5 podcast where Mike and Mike talk about their top 5s. Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 comedy film. As always, you can find us on social media, on Twitter at Mammon Podcast, Instagram at Mammon Podcast, and Facebook at Mammon Podcast.
I like you could have summarised them all in one.
No. I really wanted to commit to the fact that we've got 3 separate ones. I really needed to emphasise that.
Anyway, I'll let you carry on.
So the topic of the week is our top 5 comedy films. I feel like it's been a while since we have done films. How have you found this one?
I enjoyed making the list, but still struggled because I enjoy a wide variety of comedy films, to be honest with you. That's the main genre of films that I tend to watch. But it's like narrowing down, like I've tried to pick ones that are specifically comedy films as opposed to sort of like a mixture of comedy action or stuff like that. That makes sense? Yeah. So I've tried to sort of narrow it down as hard as I can just to outright comedy.
And I've sure I've made a huge mistake.
What have you done?
You know, I had my Rocket book.
Yes.
I'd put my top 5 comedy films and then forgotten I'd put them on there. So when I was wiping it all off, I didn't even look what I was wiping off of all the pages. So hold on, let me try and think what it was again. So
Mike's been advertising before we came onto the show about this Rocket book, which is basically like it's like a virtual notepad, isn't it? Really, because you make notes on it and then you can press send and it sends it to your email what you've written and then you just wipe off the page. So then you can continue using this notebook and you've got the notes that you can then send to yourself. And he's been raving about how good it is and then he's gone and deleted everything from it, which is always a good sign. Let's go to a swish while Mike has a look and then we'll be back in a second. Right, we're back. Have you found your list, Mike?
Yes, I've got my list.
You're happy with it?
I'm less happy than I was before I deleted it.
Oh dear. But I think it's still going to be a good list.
Yeah.
So how did you found how did you find making it? I can't remember what you said now.
Well, originally pretty easy. I thought I was going to find it difficult, but it took me about 5 minutes in the end to select. But I think that's my trick with it. I just don't overthink. I don't know if I just try to go gut instinct. This is what it is. But then when we get this is the beauty of having listeners who send in messages, because they'll say something. I'm like, I absolutely hate myself for not picking. I'm like, damn it, how did I forget about that? So I feel like we should almost, like, I don't know, in a year do a revised top 5 of things and see like if new things have come out or like who the people's opinions have changed us.
Top 5 revisited, and we'll go through all of our back catalogue. Do the exact same episodes again, but a bit with a different eye on everything. But
how did you find yours?
Well, like I said, I tried to pick just one genre. So, like, I tried to make sure it was just comedy instead of, like, say, action comedy. But I've realised there's possibly a mix of some genres, but I wouldn't say they're sort of overarching. Because, like, for example, I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't think of anything. But, like, buddy comedies and stuff like that. I'd say they can be sort of more action style. So I've sort of tried to leave them out of it and tried to go for pure comedy here.
Yeah, there's been I can't remember what I saw. There's a film I saw that was similar when I was having a little research of ideas. I was like, I don't know if I'd call that a comedy. It's a comedy with something more than anything.
Yeah. No, but I enjoyed making this list, and I've got a few little stories I think to tell alongside them.
Nice
memories, which is why I picked them.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got as many. I don't think I've necessarily got any emotional attachment of I watched it at this point, but I just think they're great films.
Yeah, which is fair.
And how's your week been?
My week's been okay. Not really done a lot because. Well, should we spoil it for the listeners?
Yeah.
We only
recorded behind the scene magic.
We recorded last week's yesterday. What have I done since yesterday? Well, I've got my first night shift coming up. So Lauren's going to be alone with the baby. So that we're going to see how that's going to go. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure she'll ace it. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Highly recommend if anyone's not watched that yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
The first episode, like, genuinely, I won't spoil anything, but there's an action sequence with the Falcon in the first sort of 15 minutes of the show. And it's like genuinely, like you're watching a film.
I've heard people say that they've tried to purposely make it a hybrid.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's watching a film even though it's a TV show.
I'd say it's one of the best action sequences Marvel's actually produced. It's insane.
Never mind film or TV.
Yeah. Like, it's actually really, really good. So yeah, recommend that. Don't know. I have no idea where the show's going, to be honest with you. It's only the first episode, and they, with WandaVision to sort of base it on, it's sort of, they're taking it slowly.
Yeah.
To actually build up the amp. But yeah, that's all I've done with my day or week. How about you?
I think I mentioned before when you picked The Office as one of your top 5 TV shows, or was it comedy shows or just TV shows? I can't remember now.
TV shows, yeah, we did top 5 TV shows.
And I think I mentioned that I'd quit when I got to Michael leaving. I never watched the final.
Oh yeah, you never
seasons.
saw Andy taking over, did you?
No, like when Will Ferrell came in, I was like, no. Not that I don't like or dislike Will Ferrell, just I don't know. It just the vibe, just I don't know. Was it too similar, too different? I can't tell. But
well,
anyway,
what's the scene in which he pretends he has an invisible something and he's doing a dance around the office?
Oh, he pretends he's juggling.
That's it.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal though.
Yeah, that is great.
Even if you don't like Will Ferrell's character in that show, that is brilliant.
Well, he's not in it that long, ironically. And
no,
anyway,
only like 2 episodes.
Shauna's first run through. So last night we watched the finale together. So the first time we both finished it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was really good. Weird how little Steve Carell was in it.
Yes.
But then I've read that they tried to keep it a secret. So I don't know if they purposely did not a lot with it because they were really, apparently, I don't know, but apparently it was a real big surprise. Like it hadn't got out.
Oh, really?
When the finale was on, originally aired.
No, I thought it was quite nice how they brought him back.
Yeah, I did. Then it just felt weird that he had such little screen time.
Yeah.
I think someone on IMDb said that he had 23 words of dialogue.
Especially as it was about the actual documentary was getting a release, and he was 7 years of that documentary, technically speaking.
And probably, even with 2 years off, he probably still got the most screen time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I imagine that too.
So yeah, that was good. It was nice to finish that off.
Nice.
Thought it was a good ending. Not as good as like a Scrubs, but it was good.
No, but it's one of those shows that how do you end it? And I feel they ended it as well as they could have done, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, should we get into our top 5s?
Yeah, let's do this shit.
So, let's hear your number 5.
My number 5 is a 1980s musical comedy film, and it's The Blues Brothers.
Yeah, I've seen bits, but I've never actually seen the whole film.
It's so good. It's just really not a lot happens. It's about two brothers released from jail who are sent on a mission from God to save the closure of a Catholic orphanage. So they're trying to get together their band to earn $5,000 to sort of pay the bill to keep the orphanage open. But on the way, they're basically sort of there's loads of people who are sort of after them, like neo-Nazis, country and western bands, a mysterious woman who's played by Carrie Fisher, and all while the police are also after him the whole time as well. And it's just a really fun sort of road trip comedy with some cracking music in it. It's got Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, James Brown, all performing songs alongside the Blues Brothers performing their songs. And it's just a really good, feel-good film. And I think it's got the record for the sort of biggest police chase car crash of all time. It's got a massive pile-up near the end of about sort of 50 police cars, and it's insane. It just keeps on going. But it's just a really, really fun film, and it's a shame that you've never seen it. You've only seen bits of it. Yeah,
I don't know if it's just one of those, I don't know, I just went through a stage where I was like, I'm not watching a musical. No real reason for it. I thought, no, I'm not watching a musical.
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of a musical, so...
Yeah.
But this is a different feel to a musical, because it's more of a... Because the songs aren't in there for... Maybe 1 or 2 songs are in there sort of to move along the plot. And I'd say Aretha Franklin's Think, when she's singing that sort of moves along the plot, and it's her talking about her feelings almost. But all the other songs are songs that they're performing as the band. So
yeah, I see what you mean. So it doesn't feel too much like a musical. I guess a bit like what's that? Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Shallow.
Yeah, all the songs are performed as a musical, pretty much, aren't they? Sorry, not a musical, as a real life, they're performers. So it doesn't. Even though it's a musical film, it doesn't feel like a musical.
I'd say a better way to put it is a music film.
Yeah.
So it's it's a film with music as a main focus. But yeah, it's a lot of fun and really good, funny.
This is completely on the cuff because we've not pre-planned this. With our bands last time, we said, well, we'll pick a favourite song as well.
Yeah.
So don't worry if not. I've not planned it either. But have you got a funniest moment in the film, or one moment that really stands out from it?
Like I said, I really enjoy the police chase at the end with the massive pile-up. Like,
I think it's quite iconic. I've never seen it, but I know what you're on about. I can picture. I feel like it's got that American where it's like got the sort of subway above ground, like, and you know what I mean. Does that make sense? Where the train's going above, like in New York, and the pillars are supporting it are on the road.
Yeah,
I feel like I can picture that in my head. That sort of part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that features in the chase scene at some point, but it's, just this massive part. Another bit is I really enjoy "Shake a Tail Feather" by Ray Charles. And sort of like they're just in this music shop, and they suddenly start doing the dance, and then everyone on the street starts doing the dance to "Shake a Tail Feather," and it's just a really silly moment in the film. But I enjoy that.
I like that. That's a solid choice, though, and I think maybe another reason why I was never a massive fan of Ghostbusters. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I hated them. I never was a huge fan. And is it one of the Ghostbusters in this?
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, him and what's his name is going to bug me now. John Belushi, who died far too young. But it was basically a SNL sketch that got converted into the movie, and I think it's the most successful SNL sketch turned movie out there, because there's not been very many successful ones, other than possibly Wayne's World.
Oh yeah, that was an SNL.
Yeah, that was sketch to begin with. I'd say those two are the most famous ones.
Yeah,
but definitely. So that's my number 5. It's just I've dressed up as the Blues Brothers for my 21st birthday. I went out to a nightclub dressed as the Blues Brothers with someone else, because we sort of did an 80s themed night out.
That's cool.
Don't really remember too much that night. I remember I got kicked out of the bar, and no one knows why. And we made it to another club. And also, I had a Superman tattoo on my cheek that I'm not sure. No one knows where I got it from. But
just to clarify, so the listeners who've never seen Mark, that would have been a temporary tattoo. He does not have an actual tattoo on his cheek of Superman.
Yes, that is very true. A temporary tattoo of Superman on my cheek. But the next day, I had a phone call from my mate Matt, who I go to university with, saying, "Where the hell are you? You're meant to be in this in our practical session." Because I had an assessed practical the next day, which was the smartest thing in the world to do.
Oh, God.
So luckily, I literally lived on the street next door to university. So I quickly got dressed, chucked on some clothes, and ran out the door and ran there. Got there, and he was just sat outside the practical room. I was like, "What's going on?" He was like, "Oh, I arrived early and I got bored." I was like, you absolute dickhead. But I hadn't realised, this is when I then realised that, I say this is when I realised, when we got into the practical session, my lecturer came up to me, and I was really shaking using the pipette and everything. He had to take over, and he was like, "Rough night last night?" I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." It's like, "You got a Superman tattoo on your cheek. Do you realise that?" I had no idea until that moment that was still on there.
Amazing.
But good memory from being out as Blues Brothers.
There you go, I like that.
Right, should we hear your number 5 then?
Yes, my number 5 was a last minute addition because I had to get rid of my number 1. My number 1 would have been Superbad, but I picked that in my top 5 films.
Yes, and as we said last week, for those who haven't listened to last week, we'll clarify again today, we purposely picked films. So this is a top 5 comedy films that haven't appeared in any other list yet.
Yeah, well, any of our lists anyway.
Yeah, any of our lists.
Number 5, I watched in a French lesson. Not because it's French at all, just because, like before you break up for half term, they put like half a film on the last day.
I remember
our
French teacher put on a French episode of The Simpsons once.
See, at least they're trying to a little bit connect it. This one, when I tell you, it's nothing. And we watched the first half, and then we were like, we're going to watch the next half when we come back. And she's like, no. I was like, so luckily my sister had it on DVD and I ended up watching it. But it's Mean Girls.
Oh, great film.
Yeah. It was one again. I remember I was in year 9. I was in French. They put it on and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, when I first watched that, I was the same. I was like, I'm not interested in this.
Well, it's just even like the front cover. Like, it looks like
a proper chick flick.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not at all. And that's another SNL writer, isn't it, I think? Tina Fey. Was she SNL?
Yeah, she was SNL. Because that's what 30 Rock's about, her experience on SNL.
But it's just hilarious, wasn't it? And there's so many quotables. And, I mean, as well, I remember someone saying if you want to keep a film like relevant every single year, it's to have someone mention a date on it so that in Twitter they can always then quote that.
Absolutely.
It's October 3rd, isn't it? She's like, what day is it? October 3rd, and that's it. And then that becomes like a
But it's like,
a meme
she's
online.
like writing on in a diary, and it's like, October 3rd. I asked him what day it is. What day is it?
October 3rd. But yeah, and I think it's so it's one that always, if you're on Twitter on October 3rd, always gets trending as Mean Girls because of that. So imagine it's like gets a boost every year if like views, like it's a steady low amount, and then October 3rd it just shoots up again because you're like, I've watched Mean Girls all year, I'll put that on.
It's one that I've been wanting to rewatch for a very, very long time. I haven't seen it in probably about 10 years, but this might encourage me to give it a rewatch because it is really a great film.
It is, and you think of like Rachel McAdams in it, who's obviously like a huge actor now, and I don't know how big she was before.
I always wonder that because when I watched Notebook, there's all big actors.
Yeah, like Amanda, is it Seyfried?
I always pronounce her surname wrong, but yeah.
And then Lindsay Lohan, who obviously is the main character. It's by far Lindsay Lohan's best acting role. In the films I've seen of her anyway, she's brilliant in. I think she plays that dry character quite well.
Yeah,
and I think that's the beauty of it. It's a ridiculous film, and the concept's a bit ridiculous. But all of the actors commit to how ridiculous it is. I love that about comedy.
I like the sort of, you got, like, obviously they go overboard with the different groups in the school.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
But there is that element of it still in schools.
No, but it's like the bit where they're doing the dance and then they kick the recorder in their face. And there's the bit where Regina George falls for the putting on weight bars, like, and keeps committing to it even though it's making her put on weight. So that's what I mean. But there's no tongue-in-cheek with it. They just commit to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
And, like if a teacher, when he's doing sex ed, he's like, right, don't have sex, you'll die. Now everyone grab a rubber. And if that's a real school, we'll be like, what the hell? But no one, blinks. It's just like, this is normal. And I think that's what's so good about it is how they I don't know if that must be directional,
I think Tina Fey's fantastic in her writing and direction of anything she does.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's an element of that.
So it's like, we're gonna play this. Every part you're going to play as if it's a serious, almost Oscar movie, but it's not. And I think I think it's great for that.
Yeah, no, that's a great shout.
Right, now moving up, we are on to our number 4.
Number 4, I don't think many people would have heard of. It's definitely a low-key type film. But it's got amazing actors in it, fantastic cast, to be honest with you. And it's Hot Rod.
Heard of it, never seen it.
So it's with Andy Samberg, but it also features his Lonely Island bandmate Jorma Taccone. It's also got Sissy Spacek, Will Arnett, Danny McBride, Isla Fisher, Bill Hader. There's also what's his name, who plays the dad, Ian McShane. Great cast in it, and it's basically about a stuntman. When I say stuntman, I'm using quotation marks because he is I think the opening bits of the scene, you see him sort of jump over a 20 centimeter gap, and he sort of starts cheering about it and stuff. But the whole idea is his dad's I think he's got cancer or something, or it's basically a reason that Andy Samberg's character needs to try and raise money to sort of get his dad better. But him and his dad always have fights, and he sort of always wants to kill his dad. So he's trying to raise money to stop his dad from dying so he can kill him in a fight. And it's ridiculous. So he's trying to sort of raise money to sort of getting his crew together to basically do this big stunt at the end. And they basically, at the end of it, it's they raised $50,000, which is a convenient amount for his dad's life-saving operation. It's just a really, really fun film and great music. There's have you ever heard of the song "You're the Voice" by John Farnham?
No.
It's a great listen to it. You definitely would have heard of it. It's a great sort of song. But they're all sort of getting motivated near the sort of climax of the film sort of thing, and they're sort of walking towards going to do this big stunt, and this song's being played in the background, and then suddenly people start appearing behind them and following them, and they're and this song's playing there, and then you have some opera singers singing this song, and they're looking at them and nodding, sort of getting all motivated. Then all of a sudden it turns into a massive riot, and they didn't realise it entered into a riot instead of people motivating them. It's just a silly film, but it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it.
I just think as well, Andy Samberg's one of the other actors who, from a comedy point of view, he plays himself each time, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Or a version of himself anyway. I feel like
definitely
there's a lot with those like SNL actors, to be honest. That their comedy style, whatever film they're in, and there's something, I don't know, there's something reassuring about that. They're the type of good films to watch when you're not feeling well, because you're like, oh yeah, it's Andy Samberg. Even if they're not, obviously not Andy Samberg, he's playing whoever. He's always the same, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I think this, like you say, it is a classic sort of Andy Samberg type film. But I'd say it's definitely one of his best films out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you say definitely, you've never seen it.
Well, it's got one of the highest of his films, though. Other than his new film that you talked about before, the Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs.
I think it's his highest rated film that he's made star in it. So there you go.
Yeah. No, highly recommend it. If anyone's not watched it, really, just go seek it out. It's it's an easy film to watch. Doesn't need a huge amount of concentration, but it's very funny. Okay,
nice one. Good choice. My number 4 now would have been my number 1 if it hadn't had sequels. And I feel like there's certain films that are really iconic, like a Superbad, and if they'd made more of them, it would have lessened it. Do you know what I mean? It would have ruined that magic of going back to it and it being as quotable, because it just dilutes it. And this film tried to copy the formula. I mean, the second film, literally beat for beat, was the same. And the third, I know exactly what
film this is.
And it is what?
On the count of 3.
1, 2, 3. The Hangover. Yeah. But that's the point, isn't it? You know what I mean? Just by explaining that, that's Hangover. Yeah, because it's so true.
I'm the exact same. The second I watched in the cinema, beat for beat the same. The third one I've never actually watched.
It just ruined it. I don't know why they did it. I do know money. It was incredibly successful, but it got over $1 billion at box office, the first film. So you can't not, can you, in a way, do it. But what an amazing, amazing film. And so many actors there that I'd never seen before. I'd never watched The Office up to that point. I'd never watched Between Two Ferns.
Between Two Ferns is fantastic, though.
Yeah. I don't know if I watched Community yet. So other than Bradley Cooper, and that's from probably I knew him best there at that point from Failure to Launch. I didn't know many of the actors in there, and it was such a funny film. I've not, and in fact, I skipped it with number 4. I don't think I put it in my number 5. Your favourite moment from Hot Rod?
Oh yeah, it'd be that scene, like I said, where they're sort of getting all motivated to "You're the Voice," and it turns out to be a right scene.
Yeah,
I say so. During the week of this episode coming out, we'll post our favourite moments from each of these films on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So
find the GIF of the moments. Yeah, because mine will definitely be on there. For Mean Girls, it is when she kicks that CD player into that guy's face. It made me cry with laughter when I saw it.
Okay.
For The Hangover, Hangover's got so many good moments there, doesn't it? Do you have I know this is my choice, but do you have a favourite moment for The Hangover that stands out for you?
I think, because I didn't realise he had a cameo in it, but the moment that Mike Tyson appears.
Yeah.
I think that was quite an amusing, I think it was unexpected, and just he was quite funny in it.
Yeah. I think maybe my favourite moment, maybe as a teacher, it's something I'd makes me laugh. But when Bradley Cooper, they pick him up from school and he's taking all the kids' field trip money to go to Vegas and gamble with.
Oh, yeah.
And it's as he's leaving, and one of the kids tried to talk to him, and he says, "I don't know you. You do not exist." As he's walking away from this kid. That just made me chuckle. That did, but like I said, it was just. I think the fact that it was quite clearly a comedy. It wasn't any other genre, but unlike some of other comedies that I've picked on here, it did have this story. It had this overarching. We need to find Todd. Is it Todd?
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, we need to find Todd.
Doug.
That's it, Doug.
Yeah.
And like I say, I feel so sorry for it that it didn't just stop on that first one, because it would have been one of the best comedies of all time. But when I think of The Hangover, I really am soured by how it went.
Yeah. No, I think I'd agree with that. It's one of those films that got sort of ahead of its popularity and tried to do too much.
Yeah.
And it didn't need a sequel in the slightest. It's a one-off film.
Yeah, that's it. It told its story, hadn't it? And it ended, quite nice as well. Hangover, I think it's got to be one of the most, along with Mean Girls, one of the most quoted comedies out there. Well, maybe there's only one that's probably quoted more, and I've got that on my list, I'd say.
Okay, I'm intrigued what that one is.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid I'm surprised that we've done 5 and 4 and not had any crossover yet.
I'm surprised. I'm not sure we're going to have any crossovers, to be honest with you, which is a good thing. But we'll see. Because I don't think you've seen my next choice.
Okay. Well, and that's a perfect segue. So, moving on to our number 3.
We really love mentioning when we do segues, don't we?
I told you, it'll be episode 150 by the time we do it smooth.
Right. My number 3. I might be wrong in saying you haven't seen it, but it was on our top 100 films to watch list, and I'm sure you said you've never seen it before, because I told you a bit about its history.
Unless it's the one we watched together.
No, because then I knew that you would have watched it, you fool. It's Airplane.
No, it's a film I've never watched, but I feel like we spoke about it because someone told me a fact about it. I'm sure it would have been you.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure it is me. I'm sure we've spoken about it. So what's the fact you know about it?
The fact I know is that the script they've taken from somewhere else, and it was meant to be a dry, real sort of thriller. And instead they took it, kept pretty much word for word the original script, but did it all ridiculous and over the top.
Yeah, so it's a parody of the disaster film genre in sort of general. It's like the original parody film by Jerry Zucker, who I think went on to do the Scary Movie films. But it's like the original parody film out there. And they did a parody of a 1957 film called 0 Hour, which is basically it borrows the whole plot and characters and some of the scripts. And they do take some moments and they do sort of like make few moments a bit more silly. But it's like you can watch them side by side sometimes, and like you can see the elements, like a serious version and then an outright ridiculous version that's seen in the film, and it's very well done how it's done. All it is about an ex-fighter pilot who is trying to get back with his ex-girlfriend, who's a flight attendant. So he boards a plane, but he's got a fear of flying and a drinking problem. And then all of a sudden, because due to a dodgy meal, the pilots become ill. And they need someone to take over the plane and fly the plane, otherwise it's going to crash because the pilots aren't there. And that's all the plot is, really. But it's just beat for beat, almost like every single line in the film is a joke. And it's so well done. Easily one of the top comedies of all time.
I feel like, is there a moment where the pilot's just absolutely dripping sweat? Is that from Airplane? Like, what was that, pouring out his face?
Yeah. It's just got silly moments, like the autopilot's just an inflatable pilot called Otto. It's Leslie Nielsen, who went on to go do the Naked Gun series and star in Scary Movie as well. And he's like known for his sort of slapstick parody humour. I believe it's his first ever comedy role, because up until that moment he was a serious actor.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, highly recommend it if you've never seen it, which I know you haven't. They did a sequel, nowhere near as good. Not sure I've watched it all the way through. It's got William Shatner in though, but this one's just brilliant.
Yeah, well, I've seen bits. Like I remember that. Like, that's when I realised I had a drinking problem. And they throw it over their shoulder.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And then
he doesn't throw over a shoulder. I was about to say that's actually one of my favourite moments. He goes, "I've got a drinking problem," and he just puts the drink into his face. Like that's his drinking problem. He doesn't drink it. He
can't drink.
Chucks it into his face, which again is just taking a moment of seriousness. I've got a drinking problem. That's a serious line, and turning it into an outright slapstick moment.
Yeah, and is shit hit the fan from this?
I'm not sure. Maybe there is a line. Yes, actually, I think you're right. I don't know if it's come from this.
I wonder if that's where it came from. But I remember that being on there, seeing a clip of that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of like sort of subtle jokes in the background that happen. Yeah, it's just a really amusing film. Like I say, there's so many comedy moments on it. There's only one other film that I've only ever seen once that sort of hits the sort of beat for beat, continuous jokes after jokes and jokes, and that's a film called Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks. But it's a film I've only seen once, so I can't really comment on it too much. And I think if I'd seen it more times, it definitely would have been on my list. But I can't really talk about it that much because I haven't really seen it that much. But that's a film which, like, every single line... I think it's got the record for the most jokes ever in a film, because every single line is a joke after joke. But this, I'd say, is very similar. Almost every line turns into a joke. And it's also one that's so quotable. Like, everyone quotes the sort of, surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
Like, things like
that makes me think of The Office.
Yeah. What is that line used on The Office?
Well, Michael tries to do it all the time, but often it's not quite right. Like, they've not set it up quite right. He's like, don't call me Shirley, but they've not quite said that, so it doesn't quite work.
But that goes to show the impact it's had on like films and TV since.
But as well, I think more importantly, the impact as well in terms of you've got to know the original joke that he's trying to reference and getting wrong to understand why what Michael's doing is funny. Does that make sense? Like, there's so many layers just to that, isn't there?
Yeah. But yeah, really recommend it. You definitely got to watch it.
Yeah. I will give that one a watch, to be fair. It's one of those that you've sort of got to watch, isn't it, I think, as well. Right. Are we moving on to my number 3? Is it my number 3?
Yes, it is your number. No, yes.
Yes! So my number 3 is going to make me an absolute of a hypocritical piece of shit because of what I said about The Hangover. Because this has got even worse sequels. But I think it's because this one is the only film that I feel like I've got like emotion attached to it. For the first film and the second film, particularly. And I feel like it really, I don't know, linked to, I don't know, my adolescence growing up and things like that and going on nights out for the first time, and particularly house parties as well. And that is, do you know what it's going to be?
No.
American Pie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, because I think the reunion one they did was actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was alright, but it's not as good as the first two American Pies.
No, the first two are iconic.
But it wasn't bad either, but all I mean is you've got American Pie 1, 2, The Wedding, Reunion, so they're the 4 core, but then you've got all those spin-offs, haven't you?
I don't count like Beta House and I don't count any of those. They've got another one, a recent one that came out literally last year called Girls Aloud or something like that. But it's like sort of based on Stifler's female cousin or something like that, which sort of, I don't know, it just feels different compared to all the others.
Do you know what? I think that should be one of our challenges. We've got to watch all the American Pies, including, maybe that could be a special episode actually, and then we've got to rank them from that.
The spin-offs.
Because I've heard some people say this. Yeah, maybe just the spin-offs actually, not even the... How many spin-offs are there?
Well, I think there's Bandcamp, Beta House, Naked Mile, the Girls one, and I think there's one more. So 4 or 5.
So you've got Camp, Naked Mile, Beta House, The Book of Love, Girls, which is 5. So we could do all 5 of them and rank them. Yeah. So I've heard some of them aren't terrible.
No, I enjoyed Bandcamp when it came out. I got that on DVD. I'm pretty sure I got Naked Mile as well on DVD when it came out.
But they're definitely not as good as the original, the OG.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely
not. Like, even just like there's the Sum 41 song on there, isn't there, right near the start? Like, I think it brought up that sort of classic American high school sort of film setting.
I'd say easily one of the top soundtracks of all time.
Yeah, definitely. But gave it that modern approach. Like, the jokes felt so risky in comparison to me. I think that's another thing as well. I think it's probably one of the first sort of R-rated or 18 films I watched, probably, where I was old enough to sort of get the jokes as well, but young enough for it to feel a bit like, oh, I shouldn't be watching this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the reason as well that it's higher than The Hangover.
I think the first one, it is a great coming-of-age film, even if it is like risque and R-rated and all that. It is a great coming-of-age film. And
that, along with some of my others, that's my favourite. Do you remember my other genres are I love? So it's coming-of-age.
I don't know.
Fugitive type of film.
Okay.
And a homesteading type of film.
Oh, yeah, because you like a fugitive type of film, but you didn't include The Fugitive.
No, fuck it.
In the
list. So, yeah, like I said, I think, again, along with Hangover, I think that's why, do you know what? I think that's part of the reason why I don't like... I've never forced myself to watch Airplane, and what's his name? Leslie something, is that?
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, and I think it's the reason why I don't really like him as an actor or any of the films he's in too much, apart from Cheap... Is he more than Cheap by the Dozen?
No, you're thinking of Steve Martin.
Yeah. Well, Leslie Nielsen, yeah, definitely. I need moments where the comedy goes away.
Yeah.
And I need some form of... Like, it doesn't have to be, Superbad stories, stupidly simple, isn't it? They're trying to get to a party. But I don't know. I feel like I need some sort of journey to follow. I need some characters to be attached to that aren't they're just for the pure comedy. There's nothing else about them.
Yeah, which, like I say, Airplane is just pure comedy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go out to try and be... It doesn't try and go to be anything else, though.
Who's the one, you'll know this, who often wins the best joke on Edinburgh Fringe Festival? And it's not Lee Mack, but he was on a show, I think, with Lee Mack.
Tim Vine?
Yeah. Like, Tim Vine, don't find that funny because it's just pun after pun after pun after pun after pun.
So I was talking to Lauren about Tim Vine yesterday because he featured on Comic Relief. And yeah, she said she doesn't find him funny. I was like, but surely there's something you find. Like, because he holds the records for the most jokes told, I think, in a minute. and he did a
But I don't think that's impressive.
But he also like
that's like me saying I hold the record for the most footballs kicked in a minute. Don't mean I'm going to be a professional footballer. It doesn't have to be good. Like, it doesn't have to be a funny joke. It just has to be a joke.
Here's another thing he does. So he did a challenge once where people could go and name any topic, subject, or anything like that, and he was able to give a joke for every single topic that was given.
But was the joke funny?
Yeah, I'd say that was funny.
See, well,
I enjoyed Tim Vine. I do agree. He's too much sometimes, but I do find him funny.
Like Jimmy Carr, if you watch his sets, he'll have a section where he does a bit of the Tim Vine, where he does these just short.
Yeah, he does it right at the beginning normally, doesn't he?
Yeah, but then he'll go into bigger stories, or he'll do a lot of those jokes, all based around the same topic of something. Whereas like Tim Vine sort of skips around quite a lot. So I like to have some sort of narrative with it. And for favourite moment in American Pie, see the problem is I mix up 1 and 2 a lot.
I'll allow it. As if I'm the judge here. I'll allow it.
It's going to be when Stifler's with a girl and she spits into the beer and then he drinks the beer because
she doesn't spit into the beer.
She doesn't.
Is it? Oh yes, she does spit into the beer. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was thinking the guy did something else.
Yeah, and then no, that's this golden shower one. That's another thing. So that because again, if like now, it's not that funny. But as a young child, young child, that sounds really bad. As I don't know, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old watching that, like I said, that's the first time I remember probably seeing like a risque sexual joke and getting it. You know, when you rewatch Friends, that episode you saw as a kid, you're like, oh, I definitely missed that joke when I was 11. And now knows a sexual reference. That was one of the first times that made you feel older than you were. I guess you're like, I understand why that's funny. I get what's happening in that.
For those who aren't aware, it's not saliva that she spits into the cup.
It's a whole lot of semen.
Yeah, I think that one is the second one, but I might be wrong. I might be misjudging them both.
Well, like I said, I do in my head put American Pie 1 and 2 sort of together. I think they had similar moments, but not beat for beat like the Hangover. Like they both start, I think, with a house party. Or that's one of the first big scenes.
Yeah,
they're both at Stifler's house, but then it changes after that.
Yeah. No, good choice. Another film that I'd forgotten about and not watched in God knows how long.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to rewatch it now.
Yeah. Again, I think for the soundtrack alone.
Yeah, it's worth it, isn't it? It's worth being on the list.
It's the soundtrack that sort of defined my youth almost.
And that's the thing as well. If I hear Sum 41, I automatically think of American Pie. And straight away, I want to watch it. Like just hearing that song.
Yeah. What's it? I like. I can never remember who sings it, but Laid. That's one of my favourite songs from the soundtrack. I think it's Nathan Nathanielson.
Matt Nathanson.
Oh, so close. Yeah, I really, really love that song. I think it's a brilliant song. Lovely was completely the wrong word that I was going to use. I think it's a brilliant song. And yeah, that always reminds me of American Pie.
Yeah, I'm going to have a quick listen to that one. I can't think of the top of my head. Oh, what was it with YouTube and adverts? Oh yeah, that's a great song. But I think as well, a lot of the music's feel good.
Yeah,
and that makes the film feel good as well.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to number 2.
Number 2 is a film that you're going to hate me so much for.
I can feel it already. I don't know why.
It's my go-to feel-good film. If ever I'm hungover or anything, I'll watch this film. And I'm sure I didn't mention it previously. And it's The Muppets.
Oh, you piece of shit. That is not a comedy. I feel like you did because we said we were going to get a tattoo. I'm going to come up with some way to get you a tattoo. And let's see how much of a Muppets fan you are.
No, I had it on my original list that we recorded.
Did you?
Yeah. So I had to feature it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just it really is such a feel-good comedy musical film. Yes, I agree. It's a kid's film. Yes, it's not brilliant. It's just a film I enjoy just sticking on. If ever I'm hungover, I can just enjoy it. I know it word for word, which is bizarre because it didn't come out that long ago, really. Actually, yes, it did. It came out 10 years ago. I feel old now. I was on my placement year when that came out. But it's just a really nice road trip film with Jason Segel, Amy Adams, and the Muppets. And all they're trying to do is raise money, and they have to do sort of like a big telethon and get the Muppets back together so they can save the old Muppet Theatre. And that's the entire plot. But it's just nice. And the cameos, there's so many cameos in it. It's insane.
When was the last Muppet film before this? You know, like if you include like Muppets Christmas Carol, Muppets Treasure Island. When was the last one?
I think
one
the last one was Treasure Island. Let's have a look. No, it was Muppets from Space in '99.
So that is quite cool
years.
So it brought it back, didn't it? And you've got to respect that, even if I don't like the Muppets.
Well, you got to think that the first Muppets movie was back in '79.
Yeah,
like it's been going for a very long time. I think like the first Muppets, like in general, was in the '70s. So,
what Muppet has the biggest role? If you had to say one, is it Kermit?
Sorry, what did you say?
What Muppet has the most sort of screen time?
Oh yeah, the Muppet with the most screen time is Kermit. Actually, although in this, there's a new Muppet. I can't think what his name's called now. Bear with me a second. It's going to bug me.
Is he the one that in the promo picture is dressed like Jason Segel?
Yes, because they have a great song where sort of Gary, that's his name, Gary, where Jason Segel is always hanging out with the Muppets, and sort of Gary's sort of always he's sort of best friends with Jason Segel's character and everything, and didn't know the Muppets until he met the Muppets. And there's a great song called "Am I a Man?" Well, sorry, it's called "Man or Muppet."
What an Oscar! Sort of,
yeah, won an Oscar. Was written by Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords, and it really is a great song about sort of like them sort of got to decide who they're going to be. Are they going to sort of Jason Segel's got to decide whether he's got to sort of stop hanging out with the Muppets or go back to his girlfriend or fiance.
That Amy Adams character.
Amy Adams, and sort of like stop neglecting her. Whereas sort of Gary's got to sort of man up and try and help out the Muppets and sort of be part of their show as well. Like, it's a really great song.
So Jason Segel's got to leave the Muppets and go back to humanity, and the Muppets got to leave humanity and go back to the Muppets.
Effectively, yeah.
I like it.
But it's a really nice sort of powerful song moment. Like I said, the songs are silly. The first song is just absolutely ridiculous. Life's a Happy Song, in which they start singing about life's a piece of cake and stuff like that. But with someone to give and someone to take, and life's a piece of pie with someone to share along the ride, and like things like that. It's just silly, but it's just a nice, charming film. It's harmless, Mike. So like it.
Well, my number 2 is not as harmless.
Is it an offensive film?
I wouldn't say offensive, but well, in some ways, just as childish. Actually.
By the way, my favourite moment for this isn't a comedy moment. It's when Kermit sort of trying to sort of like realise he needs the Muppets back in his life, and he's going through, and all the pictures that he's got on the wall are suddenly changing back into the Muppets and singing at him, and he's like, no, I need to sort of go find the Muppets, these are my friends, I've sort of abandoned them for so long. Oh, and there is a great moment where the Fonzie's got a Muppet tribute band, effectively, and Animals played by Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana.
Nice.
Oh, and that's quite cool. Funny. That's quite a nice little cameo.
He seems like the guy I'd do, though. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah. Anyway, let's hear your number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is an actual comedy. And I think probably is a lot of people's number 1, I'd say. And I'd say it's one of the most quoted comedies. Well, recent comedies, per se.
Okay.
And that is Step Brothers.
Oh, yeah, great film.
And yeah, it's just ridiculous. But this is Will Ferrell at his best. But I think what's good about this is Will Ferrell restrained a bit more than... And I think that's when Will Ferrell's at his best, when he's got a bit more direction.
Yes.
Well, I think that's what John C... Go on.
I was going to say, I think it's great because it's one in which he really, really riffs off John C. Reilly, because it's the two of them together. There's not just one in the limelight. They're riffing off each other. And
it's just so stupid. It's so funny. I love it when John C. Reilly's like, when his dad says that, he says he wants to go into the family business. He doesn't need to go to college. He's like, but you're a doctor. He's like, I know, I've tried to tell him. And like, I love it when like Will Ferrell's is it therapist falls in love with him, and there's that like fantasy where he comes and he's like, as a lumberjack, he's like, I've come to take your seed, or whatever it is, or I've come to plant my seed.
This is another film I haven't seen since it first came out. But yeah, you're making me reminisce about it now. I'd
say it's probably my most rewatched comedy.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, it became so popular after the fact. Like it sort of, I think it was sort of cool to like it for the first couple of years, and then all of a sudden it became like really popular, and then everyone started quoting it. So I think it almost became a bit annoying after a while, because so many people referenced it.
Well, that's what I feel. Anchorman's one of my favourite Will Ferrell films, but I think it got lost because it became too quotable by people.
Yeah, well, it almost makes you not want to watch it because you feel like you've seen it, even though you've not, just because you've seen so many gifs of it and you've heard so many people quote it and stuff like that. Yeah, and like I said, it's just an absolutely ludicrous plot line that they've got these two grown men who live with their parents. And their parents get together, and they've got to move in with each other, even though they're in their 40s, and they hate each other, and they're trying to like vie for who's going to be the number one son. It's just genius, and it's like I say, it's for me, it's Will Ferrell at his best. It's got all of his crazy comedy and stupidness, but with a bit more direction. He's sort of restrained a bit more, and I think he needs that. I think he can almost go too far, Will Ferrell, sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely genius film.
No, I agree. One that I think I'm gonna have to rewatch. What's your favourite moment from it? Have you said? I don't think you have you?
I've sort of mentioned two. I don't know. Just because I feel like I've quoted it, and I hate quoting films. I absolutely detest people who do it. By the way, I remember at secondary school, I used to have friends who'd watch a film and then they'd just quote that film, like random lines from that film.
Yeah, like with no context whatsoever.
Yeah, like I purposely didn't watch Pulp Fiction for like 15 years because they used to piss me off so much talking about it, like quoting it and stuff like that. And I was like, no, I'm refusing to watch it. And it turned out to be a great film, obviously, as I knew it would. But it's just like when people quote random parts of it, I don't know. I'm like, just watch the film.
Yeah. Just
show me the clip. But yeah, so probably my favourite part is when they start to become friends and they... I don't know why. Like I said, it's a Will Ferrell thing sometimes that makes me laugh. It's when he just says things so, like, seriously. And it's when they've had a fight and they're sat watching TV together. And they're like, God, I love Shark Week. And they're seeing him jump out, like, that raw power. And I don't know what it is about it. But it's just it really cracks me up so much. And I think probably because I genuinely love Shark Week as well, that I could really empathise with that situation and be like, yeah, I get it.
No, great shout.
So yeah, number 2 is Step Brothers.
Nice.
So, moving on to honourable mentions, how many HMs have you got?
Well, I've got one, but do I keep it with one or do I go for my normal 2? Those are the questions.
I think, hold on, how many have I got? I've just got the one. Let's just do one. Let's for once just do one. This can be the one and only.
Let's do one honourable mention. This is a film that I always used to watch with my mates when we got in from a night out.
Okay.
Guaranteed. And we'd always fall asleep on the sofa, sort of all lame as it sounds, all snuggled up together watching it. Mm-hmm. And it's, I wouldn't say it's an amazing film. Not the best film or best thing that these guys have ever done, but it's just an enjoyable watch, and it's called Basketball by Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
The South Park guys.
Yeah, the South Park guys.
Yeah, I've watched parts of it, but never fully watched it.
Yeah, all it is two sort of slackers gatecrash a high school party and end up in a little sort of like basketball one-on-one against 2 of the cool kids from college, and they realise they're not going to win basketball, so they slowly make up rules about basketball and change it into baseball meets basketball, and then it just ends up becoming a massive sport that's played all around the country, and that's really it, and it's sort of like about their friendship and sort of trying to sort of fight against sort of becoming massively A-list and like ruining their friendship and stuff like that, and it's just it is incredibly funny. It's not thought-provoking. It's not it's got a few emotional moments, but it's not anything like that. It's just a funny film that's just easy to watch after a night out.
But I think for me as well, like I said, I think comedy, that's the joy of a comedy film, is that it is easy watching.
Yeah. I haven't watched it in years though. I haven't watched it since being in university. But yeah, just a nice film. Not a nice film, a great film.
My film that I've picked would have made my top 5, but I didn't feel like it was comedy enough.
Okay.
Because I think it's just a genuinely good film, and the storyline's interesting, engaging, and that's School of Rock.
Oh yes, again, that's another film I've been wanting to rewatch for a very long time.
Oh, it's just so good, isn't it? This idea,
Yeah.
this failed musician who takes over his friend as a substitute teacher so he can earn some money, and then turns this class into his own little rock band. And yeah, it's like I say, if it wasn't just such a genuine, generally good film on its own, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily that many laugh out loud moments per se, but it's just interesting, engaging, and heartwarming, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I really like that film, and the music's fantastic in it again.
And as well, I feel like, like for instance, Hangover should stay as Hangover 1, 100%. Step Brothers, I'm glad never got a sequel. But School of Rock really felt like it had scope.
Yeah, you could have continued with the band and seen what they got up to.
Yeah, I feel like I found that really strange decision. I don't know, it must not have made enough money, or I don't know, Jack Black got too big, I'm not sure.
I don't know, because it is, it had a TV spin-off, and there's a musical written by Andrew Lloyd Webber about it.
Is there?
Yeah, legit. It is a big film.
But box office only made 131 million.
Okay, that's not that much.
No. So maybe it just wasn't quite... But that's, that's a shame, isn't it? That I think these types of films were before people took into account, streaming and... So obviously before it was thing, and DVD sales. Because if you take in, DVD sales and things like that, I bet it made so much more money than that.
Yeah, almost definitely.
But yeah, just a great film. Like I said, I didn't feel like I could pick it because I don't know if I would call it a pure comedy.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would have allowed it.
Well, I made a mistake then, thanks.
Yeah, you have. Massively.
Start again.
Right, let's hear your number 5. I might have to rewatch that film. Genuinely, this is a genuine fact. I say fact as if it's really, really interesting. I almost included the band from School of Rock in my top 5 bands.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, there was a point and I was like, that would have been really cool to actually have included them. But yeah,
I'm sure,
I decided against it.
I'm sure you've watched it because you're as much a nerd of stuff like this as I am. But have you seen the YouTube video of them getting back together for a reunion as adults? It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's such a nostalgia hit as well. That seeing them all grown up, you're like, whoa.
You can recognise them instantly as well, which is weird. Yeah, great film.
Right, moving on to number 1.
Number 1 is a film we've watched together, so I think you know what it is.
Is it an old film?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, I do know.
And it really is actually, I think it's my number 1 because it's just so well made, and the story behind it is actually really interesting. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's called Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. But for most people, it's known as Doctor Strangelove. It's just a really, it's a bizarre film because the plot's quite serious, isn't it? It's quite actually a very serious plot. It's basically a general has ordered some planes to sort of, they've issued this plan to sort of drop a bomb. I can't remember where they're planning on dropping it, but he's ordered them to do it. And basically in the plan, it means that they have to change the code or sort of the frequencies on their sort of RAF plane to a different frequency, and they'll only sort of accept sort of communication if a 3-letter code is given to them, so they can then sort of change the orders or anything like that. But only the general knows what this code is, and then the general shuts down everyone into his base and puts his base onto high alert. He's basically taken it upon himself to nuke somewhere, and has stopped anyone else in sort of in charge of the country, the president and everything, to have any impact or be able to change it themselves. Because of this, they actually changed a US law because they realised having only one person in charge of sort of nuclear codes and stuff like that is ridiculous. And it's insane that this film had such an impact, and it sort of showed the light that actually this was such a stupid idea. Why have we done this? But despite this really quite serious plotline, it's just an outright silly film. It's got Peter Sellers in it, who plays 3 different people, and he just plays them all so well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Particularly the Doctor.
Yeah, Doctor Strangelove. But there's a great moment where, which they kept in the film. So because he plays all these 3 characters, at one point near the end of the film, so he plays a character called Doctor Strangelove, who's the expert on the nuclear war, but he's also a former Nazi who has, it's like Phantom Hand, isn't it? So he's left hand is still a Nazi, so he's like trying to salute and sort of at one point I think it tries to strangle him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's weird that he's a former Nazi, but his left hand is still a Nazi. It like that, just ridiculously silly. But he completely forgets what character he's playing in the film at one point, and this character's in a wheelchair. And he just stands up and sort of explains something, and he realises he stood up and he goes, "Mein Frere, I can walk!" And it just remains in the film just because it was just so silly and stupid. It's got great lines that I'm sure most people would have heard or seen. So the classic scene of someone riding a nuclear bomb down while sort of like
the cowboy
waving the cowboy hat in the air, or the classic line of "no fighting in the war room." It's just got silly things like that, and it really is it's a great film.
I think as well, compared to something like Airplane, it's got the ridiculousness of something like Airplane, but it has its quiet and serious moments as well. It punctuates it. It's like it's quite like an odd film in that sense. But it works really well, and because of it, you're genuinely engaged by the storyline. You're like, shit, are they going to be able to stop this nuclear bomb going out or not? Because that's the whole plot, isn't it?
Yeah,
this guy started it, and then it's people trying to see if they can fix it, as they can get a message to that plane and stop it.
Yeah, because there's the generals in the sort of war room and the United States president trying to sort of discuss it, but they've also got people on the base trying to get in and stop him. It is it's a really interesting film, and like I say, the fact that it changed US law is insane.
Yeah, and I think as well, it wasn't that long after, obviously, what was it, less than 10 years, 20 years even, from when America dropped the bombs on Japan. And, that part of the, obviously, often it goes by Dr. Strangelove, but that's how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb, is true. I bet there was so much fear around that time that, what if someone just drops a nuclear bomb on us?
Yeah. Well, I think it was around the Cold War era, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the book... It's based on a book called Red Alert, which came out in the 50s before the Cold War, I think.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't really know when the Cold War started. Maybe it was.
Yeah,
I was thinking
I'm a bit clueless with that.
Yeah.
Having a look at this, there's been a lot of Cold Wars.
Yeah, I think there is, isn't there? I think we think of the one in the 60s as the famous one, but yeah, I think there's been others, hasn't there?
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just it's a great film. It's directed by Stanley Kubrick as well, who's not known for this sort of comedy film.
What's your favourite moment in it?
Good question. I think it just it does have to be when Peter Sellers, just any moment he's sort of as this Nazi and his Nazi hands like doing random stuff. I really find it just funny because it's not really explicitly stated, is it? It's a lot of sort of physical slapstick comedy, and it's never stated his left hand is a Nazi, but it's so obvious in the way he plays it that this hand is still attacking him, despite him being sort of like against the Nazis now. And it's just very well done. My
favourite moment, which is more personal to us than the actual film, I guess, but it's towards the end, well, I guess the middle of the end, where they're in this plane. So it cuts to the plane that has the nuclear bomb that's had their orders, and then once they get the orders, they've got to cut off, haven't they? So, like you say, a certain radio frequency. Yeah. And they're flying towards, is it Russia they're going to bomb?
Yes, it's the Soviet Union.
Yeah, Soviet Union. And I remember watching it and being like, it's so weird how straight they're playing it on the plane, particularly one guy, the sort of the captain of the plane. And then I think you end up Googling it, and they'd not told the actor it was a comedy. So it's not like he purposely, he just thought this was a really serious film about nuclear war, and he played it so straight because he didn't know he was in a comedy film. And I was like,
Slim Pickens who plays King Kong, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's so good though, isn't it? Because it just made me chuckle.
I've forgotten about that.
And I was like, that's amazing, because you really can tell, like, before we Googled it, something did feel off. Like, I know some characters do play it a bit more serious. It's not completely slapstick, but that felt like a really every time I went to the plane, it felt intense, didn't it? The tone was just completely different. And then when I realised it, because they'd not told it was a comedy, whether purposely or not, and then gone, fuck it, we're just going to keep it like that. I absolutely love it.
No, it's a great film and easily one of the best comedy films out there. Like I say, it's very slow. It is very slow, but it's very well done. And like, I think reading around it and learning about it, so they do put about how it changes the law, I think in the beginning or the end of the film.
Yeah, they do.
I can't remember. But the more you read about it, the more interesting it sort of becomes. Right, should we go on? So go on.
Yeah, well, I just have my pause here. We'll go to my number one now, but it's just I'm thinking about it. I'm like, shit, have I picked this before? I know I referenced it in one of them at least, but I can't remember if I actually picked it or not.
Okay.
So my number one.
Well, if you have, it's not the end of the world.
No. Well, I can't remember what I said about it, so there you go. My number one is Shaun of the Dead.
I don't think so. You wanted to include it as a rom-com, but you picked it as an honourable mention.
That's right, yeah, because I think it's more comedy than like zombie or romance. But
yeah,
it's what a genius film. Like from a technical standpoint as well, not even just like for comedy. Like the fact you have that start, where he wakes up and he's tired and he's stumbling about.
I think he's a zombie already.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, isn't it? That he's a zombie in this world, isn't he? He's not been living, and it's only when he has a zombie apocalypse that he actually wakes up.
Holy fuck! I never realised that.
Because he replays the whole same day.
Yeah,
but there are zombies he doesn't notice, which just shows how much of that he was the zombie at the start, almost.
I hadn't clicked about that, but you're absolutely right.
Honestly, like I say, from a technical writing point of view,
this is why you're an English teacher who dives deep into the sort of the themes of every film and book you read.
I think that's Edgar Wright, personally. I think Edgar Wright does that in all his films. I think he's because it's comedy, I think people just go, it's funny, but he's actually, from a technical writing point of view and directional point of view, it's so clever. And you even have it when he goes to the flat and comes back and he can't climb first time, he can do it second time. It's like he's got the energy to fight for his relationship. It's got to be one of the most iconic songs when you've got Queen playing as they're all beating the zombie.
Yes, Don't Stop Me Now, isn't it?
Yeah, it just fits so perfectly. Then I love as well that you've got Shaun and his group of survivors, and they meet the other group of survivors, and they're all other comedians from other things. You've got Matt Lucas, haven't you, on there?
You got Matt Lucas, Tamsin Gregg, Reese Smearsith, Martin Freeman, and one other that I can't think of.
Yeah, and that's just brilliant as well, isn't it? If you know your British comedy, you've got all these counterpoints, and it works so well. And then you've got this friendship that's just really, nice. And you've got it at the end when obviously Nick gets turned into a zombie, and he gets him and takes him into the shed, and they're still playing Time Splitters 2 from the start when they were already doing that as well. And who could make a fart joke emotional other than Edgar Wright and Nick Frost?
Oh God, yeah, at the end.
I'm sorry. No, it's okay, don't worry. No, I'm sorry. Oh, for God's sake! I just think, fart jokes are shit, but that's just so good. And the fact they could turn that to an emotional moment in his character's death is just brilliant. Yeah.
No, that's another great film that I've not seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I think I could do a whole piece of analysis on it. Just on beat for beat. But yeah, it's just a great comedy, and it's got a great mixture of just sort of silly throwaway jokes. Like when at the start, when I can't remember his missus' name in it.
Liz,
yeah. When him and Liz are arguing at the Winchester about how she doesn't want to hang around with his friends, how Nick's character's a bit of an arsehole. It's like, no, he's not, he's really lovely. And then it cuts to Nick. It's like, can I get any of you cunts a drink?
Yeah.
There. And there's even little moments so everything that happens before the zombie apocalypse gets brought back up. Do you remember when they break up and they go back to the Winchester and having a drink? And he's like, I don't want to end up the whole my life, these losers have been drinking the whole life at the Winchester. He's like, they're not losers. He's like, look at these characters. And Nick makes up, well, I don't know if they're real or not, but it seems like they're fake backstories.
Mm.
So there's an old man who he says, I can't remember what he says he was now. Something about he's a ladies' man and he's got loads of children. And he's this old man who wears cowboy boots. And then when you see him later on in Zombie Apocalypse, he's being eaten by a load of, I can't remember if it's women or children, but either way, it's a callback to he's a ladies' man or he's got loads of kids.
Oh, okay. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, so there's little things that if you watch it again, try and sort of store away, some of the things that happen and are said before the apocalypse, and then see how they transcend in the apocalypse. And like I say, it's so much more than a comedy in that sense. It's got so many layers to it. Yeah.
See, I'm normally I enjoy finding trivia facts and stuff about films like that, but this completely eluded me somehow in this film.
I'd say, I said Step Brothers my most watched film, but I think this is it. This was probably my uni comeback drunk film, I'd say.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I think Shaun of the Dead was such as well a good example of before the internet was 2004. I don't think the internet was massive. No, it wouldn't have been. I was in secondary school. This was a word of mouth that when you saw something cool, you forced your friends to watch it So they'd come round to your house and you'd be like, no, we're watching Shaun of the Dead. I need you to see this. I need you to view it. Like, and that for me was Shaun of the Dead was like, and I think someone probably did the same to me. Someone probably got me, they'd watched it and forced me to watch it. And I don't know, you felt like you were in like a little private group at that time. If you'd watch, if they've watched Shaun of the Dead, they're cool. They get, they get films.
But it ended up like the trilogy with the whole Cornetto thing it was great by Edgar Wright. Even if End of the World or World's End wasn't as good as the other two, like he's a fantastic director with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
Yeah, I hope they do it. Yeah, exactly. I hope they do another one.
Have you ever watched
Paul?
Spaced, I was going to say.
Oh no, I've not. But,
so Shaun of the Dead actually came from a sort of like mini cutaway scene from Spaced. There was like just a little zombie like sort of shoot 'em up, and it sort of came away from that. But I recommend Spaced. It's a great little sitcom with Simon Pegg and Jessica Stevenson, and they're both looking for a flat, but not together, and they realise that they can get a flat together if they pretend they're a couple. And it's just about their relationship and friendship, and it's got Nick Frost playing Simon Pegg's best friend in it. It's just a really nice, absurd, it's very absurd comedy.
Is Edgar Wright doing that as well?
Yeah, he directed that.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he did. I've just had a look now, yeah.
So yeah, I'd recommend Spaced if you enjoy their stuff. It's sort of
I'm about to say, it's one of those I think I've always
to start into the Cornetto trilogy.
I think as well, I bet there's loads of actors from Shaun of the Dead who are in Spaced, I imagine, as well.
Oh, well, like I say, Jessica Stevenson, who ends up... I meant to say her instead of Tamsin Greig earlier as part of the sort of the other group of survivors. She's the head of the other group, and I think that was a definite nod to Spaced. And
as well, to can't crawl out of Edgar Wright's horse at the minute, but Edgar Wright wrote the first Ant-Man. So I've rewatched all the Marvel films recently with Shauna. Ant-Man 1's brilliant. Ant-Man 2 I really didn't enjoy that much.
No? I thought it was so good.
Well, do you know what? I just watched it. I was like, if that didn't have Paul Rudd in, that's as bad as Iron Man 2. Like, I just didn't care about the storyline. It's so forgettable. And like I said, Paul Rudd's Paul Rudd. He'll make any film interesting, I think. But I think it's really poor.
I've only watched it once, so I don't think I can comment yet.
Well, tell me the storyline of Ant-Man 2.
There's that faded ghost figure, and she's phasing between dimensions.
How did that happen? No, Quantum Realm.
Because of a failed experiment by Giant Man.
By who?
The guy, what's his name? Morpheus.
Yeah, no, he didn't do the experiment.
Oh, did he not?
No.
Oh.
It was her father.
Oh, okay. No, I'll be honest, I can't remember it.
See, this is what I mean. Like, it's very forgettable, the whole storyline. Like I said, I won't say it's awful because he makes up for it. And even with that, it's not like the worst film ever made, but it's not great.
The one thing I did like was the things in the lab being giant-sized versions of miniature things.
What do you mean?
Did you not notice that? In the lab, in Michael Douglas's Hank Pym's lab, a lot of the stuff in there is enlarged versions of little small things to sort of fit into the roles that other things may be. So he's obviously just increased the size of things just to sort of make it work.
That's cool. No, I might have a look at that.
Rewatch that bit. Yeah. Because that's a sort of hint at the fact that, when he shrinks his the building.
Yeah.
It sort of hinted at that sort of throughout the whole thing.
That he's been messing around with shrinking things a bit more,
Exactly. But yeah, he did direct, or he did write the original Ant-Man script, but Marvel didn't agree with it because I think the first half was meant to be set in the 70s with Hank Pym, and then the second half was set in the current day with Scott Lang, and they didn't because obviously Marvel had built this universe at the time, and they'd got a plan, and he'd sort of written it originally as a standalone film. So I think that's why it didn't sort of pan out.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But apparently he's met up with the Marvel sort of creators now, again, recently. So maybe in some point in the future he'll do something.
You don't say, because like I said, I don't think I'm the only one that didn't really rate Ant-Man 2. Like I said, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great.
Yeah. Anyway, great shout with Shaun of the Dead, though.
Nice one. So, we're trying out new segments at the end, aren't we? And this one... What did you learn this week? Or this podcast?
I learned I need to rewatch some of the films that I watched growing up. Like American Pie, Shaun of the Dead, Mean Girls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great comedy films out there that I'd completely forgotten about.
Yeah, as well. And I think the problem being with you is that I think you're quite good. I'm pretty good with like films and TV shows. You know, from when I was born. Well, from when I was born, from when I started really paying attention. So what? From maybe like 2001-ish onwards. But I'm not so great with sort of early 90s and later films where you've got a really good, like, rich history.
Yeah, I watch
particularly your
films
80s
from
as well.
Yeah,
your 80s one is good. Like I looked at because you had Blue Brothers, that was 80s. What was your other one after that?
Airplane.
Airplane's another 80s film. So yeah, they're just things that I know, like I know I need to watch them if that makes sense. So that's what I want to try and do is sort of increase my. We need to get back on our top 100 thing, don't we? Really,
we do. But there's a reason why we're not doing the top 100 thing, really.
So podcasting.
Well, yeah, podcasting, and we're not seeing each other. Although we did some online, didn't we? We sort of.
It's not the same though. Doctor Strangelove was the best one, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, that was the last one we did.
Yeah. So hopefully when that's back, what's that? Mid-May, isn't it? We can do.
Yeah.
Maybe you can come round. We'll get a few out.
Sounds like a good idea.
Next week then, what are we recording next week?
Next week we are doing our top 5 online games.
Which, to clarify for people kick off, doesn't have to be massively multiplayer online games, although can be. Any game that has
because I don't really play any MMOs, so I'm going to have to think outside the box for this topic, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what we'd like to see as well this week on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all going from the handle Mammon Podcast. Do you prefer that this time? I linked all 3 together rather than individually.
I appreciate it.
Would love you to see who's won. I feel like we had very different top 5s here. And I want to see whose do you agree with. If you had to give a winner of who had the best top 5 list, do you go for Mike Ellingham or Mike Walsh? Which one are you going? So hashtag Ellingham, hashtag Walsh, I think. Maybe we can try and
For clarification, I'm hashtag Ellingham.
And for clarification, I'm hashtag Walsh.
So yeah. So the other thing, we've got a list of the next couple of episodes that we're planning on filming, and we'd like people to email us in their lists for these topics, like they did with the books and bands. We'd really like to sort of hear other people's lists and mention them during our honourable mention section, and potentially, even if we're really impressed with some of them, get someone on as a guest. I would really love, coming up soon, to get someone on as a guest. I think that'd be brilliant. So I'll read out the lists that we've got for people to email us in. So, like we said, on the 4th of April, we're going to be doing online games. On the 11th of April, we're doing movie soundtracks.
Not scores.
We're going to clarify that, yes. Movie soundtracks, not scores. So we don't want like orchestral music like from Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. We're on about sort of like we mentioned in this episode, like American Pie, that sort of soundtrack. On the 18th of April, top 5 countries. 25th of April, English actors. On the 3rd of May, top 5 solo artists, so music, not painters. And on the 10th of May, top 5 Netflix shows.
Originals.
So online,
yes,
originals, not just like when they've put on like a Channel 4 show on their original Netflix shows. So that's online games, movie soundtracks, countries, English actors, solo artists, and Netflix TV shows.
Can I just clarify as well? For me, actors is both male and female.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using the word synonymously.
No, I know. Well, it is now, isn't it? But some people have, I think sometimes people do think that's just male, isn't it now? But I'm pretty sure that's quite a while ago, isn't it? They got rid of actress and it's just actors now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although, even opposite,
like that.
Is it male actor and female actor, or is it actress?
I think it's actress. Or no, it could be male actor and female actor.
By the way, can I just say, this really annoys me on like podcasts, right? And like YouTubes and stuff like that. When they're having these debates, this or this, and they go, hey, try and get force some fan interaction. Let us know in the comments. It's like, just fucking Google it. It's going to take like 10 seconds. You're not uploading this for a week. Are you really going to wait that long?
Although I'm sure we've done it. Oh, no, the few times we've done it in the past, which no one's ever got back to me.
No, but that seems to be because we couldn't Google it.
Yeah, I've Googled things in the past, and no one's still going to let me know what that Blue Ant or the shrunk down documentary maker is called. That means no one's watched it, which is really annoying. It
means that you had a really vivid dream, and you've...
No, I mentioned it to my dad, and my dad remembers it, but can't remember what it's called. Really bugging me. But yes.
Shout out to your dad as well, friend of the podcast.
So yes, so email in those lists. Don't put them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram because I think it'll be entertaining for people to see what those lists are if we mention them on the episode.
Yeah, but do see who's won on social media because maybe we can put a poll on.
Yeah,
our first poll.
I'll do a poll on Friday after this episode's out, and we'll see who people think wins.
Do you feel confident you won?
I think I've got. I don't know because
I think you've got like the more criticky.
I was going to say, but then I put Hot Rod which is it's quite an obscure comedy, and The Muppets, which I know I'll get a lot of hate for.
Hopefully,
but yeah, but Dr. Strangelove, Airplane, and Blues Brothers are all classic comedies.
I feel like as well, Airplane and Blues Brothers. I don't think you like those films. I think you love them. If you have to mean, if someone's a fan of that, they're a massive fan.
You either love it or hate it.
Yeah, so I feel like if someone's a fan of that, they'll automatically pick yours because of that, which is horseshit. You need to across all 5. Don't be that person.
I used to have a friend who, so in the Blues Brothers, a big part of it is they never take off their sunglasses. Mm-hmm. But one of the DVDs that they released, they sort of included an extra scene in the film in which, I can't remember which one it is, but I think it's Jake, takes off his sunglasses when talking to Carrie Fisher, and she refused to buy that version, my friend, and she only owns the copy on VHS. It's one of her favourite films of all time. She apparently watches it like once a week, but she only sort of has it on VHS because they ruined it in the DVD, in her opinion.
Wow, that is intense love for or something, isn't it?
But that goes to show the sort of love that this film's got.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we'll leave it there, and we'll come back next week with our top 5 online games.
See you all then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.